five of us here, and Ron on the phone. Nancy can't make it, Nancy Hall can't make it, unfortunately, so we will proceed.
I'll gladly make a motion to allow Ron to vote.
Second.
Allow Ron to vote.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it's done.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. I had that on my notes, but nothing on that. Okay, approval of the January 12th, 2017 minutes. You hopefully everybody got the latest revision of those minutes, and I think they corrected certainly everything that I had pointed out to Diane. Are there any other additions, corrections, changes to the minutes as currently revised? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes. Well, you will make the motion?
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
Second.
Second? Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Okay, we're, it's 6-0. We're ready for the financials.
Financials, okay.
Financials.
Well, not a whole lot different this month. On the income side, just the interest has posted now at the end of the year, and so we are actually above budget on interest income. Let's see, for some reason, the gate repair maintenance is still,
Nancy, may I just ask, on the income?
yeah.
I mean, we're, hugely above budget, but I assume the budget will catch up as the year goes
Yeah,
forward, is that it?
If you look at the budget that Severn Trent shows,
Yes.
we're where we should be.
Yes.
But QuickBooks is not quite as sophisticated, so I can't tell it to treat the income as all due now, because that's when the taxes are due.
Right.
So it does everything
By
monthly,
12.
yeah, does everything by 12. Yeah, so things like income that are all due right now are always gonna be spread out per the budget with QuickBooks. And we don't have any input into that part of the budget anyway, so. Yeah. The repairs and maintenance in the gates is rather high for some reason, but we have not seen any insurance reimbursements on that yet. So hopefully, once we see some of that, that'll bring that into line. And also the monument repairs is real high for some reason. And I don't know, if, Jason, do you know what's going on with that? Why the monuments are so high? I mean, we know the gates is the accidents.
Right.
We know the gates is the accidents.
Let me know what, do you know what invoices or what amounts?
Is that from the repairs that we did at the front one?
Is that, yeah,
Well, this is, I don't think so. I think this is just a
This
series
is-
of a
this
lot
is
of invoices.
neighborhood monuments.
monuments.
Not neighborhood monuments, we're way over budget. That's something that, yeah.
And I haven't seen any one invoice that seems huge. It just seems like there's more small repairs and irrigation repairs are high. So all of our repairs seem to be coming in kind of high this year, and I don't know what's going on to cause that. Plant replacements, we know that's that big lump sum from last year, so nothing other than the repairs and maintenance in all these different areas is out of line for the budget so far this year. Should I talk about meeting tomorrow about the,
Yes,
cover that now?
I think you should.
Okay, I'm meeting tomorrow with April and Stephen Bloom and Jason and Sarah. We're going to go over the O&M agreement and the $90,000 that they'll be seated with, I guess, is the only word to keep in the account balance. But we had some issues within the last year. Last month I got some requests for reimbursement from Jason that went all the way back to last February. And they totaled about $90,000. It'll have, because they weren't there when I did the budget this year, it'll have a small impact, but some of them were contract items, and I went by the whole contract, so that won't be impacted. But the smaller items, there could be, some impact on the budget, since I budgeted without knowing about those expenses. But we're gonna meet with them to find out what their controls are, what their controls are, how they're gonna avoid these kind of things happening in the future. Meet with them to find out what
I think, you know, my input to that is I think it's very important that we all get on the same page and that the controls are there, because things slipped, I guess, from when the original O&M agreement was signed, and we need to get them back on track. I think that's the important thing.
Well, one of the things that we've been discussing at the O&M between two attorneys was having electronic funds transferred. Stephen Bloom had any issue? I sent him an email and he never responded. But has there ever been any issue about electronic funds transfer? So that Jason would have the funds
Immediately.
quickly? Ever been any issue about
We can bring that up at the meeting tomorrow.
Please do, because
Okay.
that was brought up, and I actually sent him an email and never
Okay.
responded.
Well, and the whole idea of them having the $95,000 basis, we won't have an issue. Because when there is like a 2-week lag in getting checks issued to them, they've still got the money to pay the bills immediately. And this will be more a reimbursement to bring that account back up. So they'll always have the money to pay our invoices as.
Right, I mean, that's why that went up to 90,000. Originally,
Yeah, it was
the
only-
OEM was much smaller.
Much smaller, and our expenses just keep
Right, I
growing.
mean, that's why that.
Ron, are you able to hear the conversation, the discussion here? Okay, good. Yeah, good, Nancy, we'll, you know.
From CDD to,
Give us a report at the next meeting as to,
okay,
how that went, and if there are any issues, that would be good.
okay.
We need to do that. Any further questions of Nancy on the financials? Okay, we'll move on to the association manager report and Securitas. I think I'm gonna reverse the two items on there. We'll talk about Dwelling Live first. We've got some startup problems. So Bob, if you maybe could address what's happened and where we're going with that.
Well, thank you, Bob French with Securitas. I think our first issue is that we're getting reports that we're having great difficulty with the authorization codes from the letters. I don't know if anyone in the room has been successful with that. No one's been successful. So that's been the biggest problem. I know originally when they run them, they had an issue, but they went back and apparently fixed it, and they said they had a problem with 13 of them. I think it's the opposite. We have 13 good, and we have the remainder bad. I've yet to receive an explanation of what is going on with that, and what can we do to rectify that. I know right now that Castle and their team has been literally entering them. So what happens is the resident's been calling the office, they've been receiving the call, and they go ahead and set it up right then and there and send an email out. I also got my team involved in the gatehouse. Jennifer and Crystal will be handling any calls going to the gatehouse, and they can set them up. So I've asked them to set them up and help out with these folks until I can get a remedy to the issue. What I'm most concerned about is any of them working. That's what I don't know yet. We have 300 residents that have successfully logged in, but we believe, we're not certain, we believe a lot of it's been done by Castle. At least Jill seems to think about 200 have been done by Castle, right? We believe a lot of it's been done by Castle. At least Jill entering have been done by Castle. Was it really? Okay. So we need to come up with a solution and how we're going to handle that or rectify that or assist on that. That right now, I don't have the answer back from these folks. I've escalated to everybody at Dwelling Live. They're working on it, but I haven't got a good remedy. As a matter of fact, I'm looking at probably escalating. So there we go. Escalating it to the head folks there on a conference call to see what we can do. I've not had this issue in the past, so this is an issue. Conference call to see what we can do. I've not had this issue in the past, so this is feedback. It would be better if I just step back a little bit.
It's kind of like a delay and a repeat.
Yeah, okay.
That seems to be okay.
Okay. So that's our biggest concern. I mean, yes, it's been successful in terms of logging in 300 folks, but Castle Group's doing the majority of the work. And that's not gonna work, because that's gonna bog these folks down. And we have 1780 or whatever in total property owners, though we don't expect 1730 to register, but it could be quite a bit more. So that's our biggest issue right now. So I'm working with my folks to get some type of backup plan of what's next. That's our biggest issue right now. So I'm working with my folks to get some type of backup plan of what's next. That's our biggest
I
issue right
requested that Jason get some kind of something out to the community to explain that we're having startup problems and how people, you know, at this point, if they want to get on, should do so. The only thing I would say, although I had to get Jill had to log me in, but now that I'm on, it seems to work fine. I had visitors today, it was the first time, and they came to the gate, and it worked fine. So once you're on, you're okay.
Is the gate
kidding.
working? Is the gatehouse, are you
No.
operational yet, the gatehouse?
Yes, on the dwelling side, light side, but the hardware side, in the gatehouse, we're working. We're training, we're working, that's not an issue. Printing passes out, we are on dwelling live in the gatehouse. We are not using capture.
Training, we're working, that's not an issue.
Okay, the gates, that's an issue number 2. The gates are, I'm waiting for a text message to confirm the text on site. He was supposed to be here this morning. We ran across an issue, we need a relay switch that had to overnight in, not realizing we didn't have relays on these systems. So he was overnighting it in to put the relays. So I'm waiting for him to install them as we speak and hopefully get an update here. As soon as I get an update, I'll let Jason know so we can close the gates. Once we do that, the gates will be closed. So that was definitely because we started on Monday, so we're on Wednesday, Thursday now. So yeah, definitely an issue there with the relay. But they have a solution for it. I'm waiting for him to arrive to put it in and take care of that issue. But they have a solution for it. Waiting for him to arrive to put it in and take care of that issue.
My health registration.
Right.
And then the password wasn't good, and it's just giving me error message after error message. They sent me a text that said, put it on your cell phone. It asked me for my credit card to charge me for the software. I'm like, delete.
Okay, let me,
That's bad.
well, no. The Dwelling Live app is no cost to anyone. There's no cost to a Dwelling Live. I don't know, what we're running across in the community is that if you've never used apps before, it's going to, you have to register, set up an account with like Apple,
If you've never used apps before,
with
it's going to, you have to
the Apple
register
system.
The Apple system, or iCloud, or
No,
iTunes?
Apple Store, thank you. You have to set up an account with the Apple Store, which you have to have a credit card for, because there's some apps that cost money. Of course, this one does not, so it won't charge you.
Apple Store, which you have to have a credit card for, because there's some apps that cost money. Of course, this one does not.
No,
so
it shouldn't.
When it asked me for my credit card to install it, I said no.
No, and I don't have an explanation. I put it on my phone. I didn't have any issues with it. It was free. I downloaded it. I put my passcode in for.
I don't have an explanation. I put it on my phone. I didn't have any issues with it. It was free.
Yeah, and I put in my password and so forth to download the app, like all other apps, right?
It should have worked, it just didn't, and it doesn't work on my desktop.
And I put in my password.
So it's still not working.
To download the app, like all other apps, right?
What, as far as your app, I can look at that for you and see if we can get it.
So it's still
That
not
sounds
working.
odd. We can, yeah, we don't,
Yeah, just give me
What's,
credit.
yeah, no, don't do that. So we can address that because I don't think we're gonna have an issue with that. I haven't had that issue.
Don't do
We've heard
that.
of that issue.
I know that over half the residents. in
So we
Medford
can address that because I don't think we're gonna have an issue with that. I haven't
some of them are just
had that
walking
issue.
away
We've
saying,
heard of that issue. Well, I think we're challenged to some extent just because our community may not have the tech savvy perhaps to deal with some of these issues that could be, but I mean, I'll be happy to download the app right now and see if it works or not. Has anyone else downloaded the app?
I tried, I couldn't get in.
You couldn't do the app either?
Oh, no, not yet.
Oh,
Right now and see
It
if it
would
works.
recognize my
Anyone else
registration.
download the app?
okay, yeah, that we know is definitely an issue.
But I'm
And-
challenged with any app.
Oh.
Okay, but I mean, I'd like to try it because I don't think that's an issue whatsoever.
I'm not app challenged.
Okay, but I mean, I'd
Yeah,
like
you
to
do them
try
all
it.
the time, yeah.
I don't think that's an issue.
Find out that there's a problem, and you have a solution to it, we gotta get out to the community with that. I'm very concerned about this because we knew that this was gonna be a difficult sell, and now we've got these problems, and we'll make it doubly difficult to sell it. We gotta work through it.
Like
Yeah.
Obamacare. That launched well.
Um,
Really, we need to rectify the residents as soon as possible.
Yes,
That launched well. Or at least send them something saying it's not you.
Yeah.
yes.
We have this problem.
We have this problem, yeah.
Yeah, as far as defining really what we know is an issue. We know the authorization codes are a problem, to what extent is unknown. The authorization codes are an issue. Really what we know is an issue. The app shouldn't be an issue, and I need to confirm that by just doing it with you. The gates will be rectified here within the hour. I'm waiting for a text to confirm it.
If you just send out a note on the registration,
The gates will be
portion of this,
rectified here
and when you
within
expect it
within
to be
the hour.
right.
I'm waiting for
Yeah.
a text to Okay.
that would
Yeah,
be,
well,
that would be a
that's
big
what-
help.
That's what I asked Jason to do, is that we need to get something out very quickly.
Okay.
And I agree with Bob, they need to know it's not something they're doing.
Yeah, because that would
otherwise they're gonna be
frustrate
just
people.
frustrated
That's,
with it.
you're right, that's a concern. We really sold this on folks being able to use it, now they think it's, maybe they're not able to, therefore they're giving up. And we don't want them to get frustrated, because I think we can get it to a great participation rate, but that's definitely an issue. So I have that, what other issues have you dealt with or have been dealing with? Because I'm getting reports of some different things. For example, vendors, when my vendor's not registered, that came up as an issue. It's not an issue, it's just a concern, but we're authorizing or bypassing the vendor list, meaning that some communities require all the vendors to be approved by the association. So if you put a vendor in, for example, the pool cleaning company, it's gonna tell your resident that it's not it's not been approved yet. Doesn't mean it wouldn't permit them in, it just hasn't been approved. So we're superseding that, so it doesn't show that, meaning you don't have to have them approved here at Pelican Preserve. So that's a feature that's on, we need to take off. You don't have to have them approved here at Pelican Preserve. That's
The other thing is,
feature that's
I
on,
found
we need
that,
to take off.
I guess getting to the tutorial, the primary tutorial was a problem. Now, I went back to Jill and she sent me to the YouTube tutorial, which is okay. But the primary tutorial, which is the one I think was,
Inside the site?
yeah, I couldn't get to that.
And when you clicked on it, did it do anything, or do you recall?
They told me that I got a 404, this site isn't working.
When you clicked on it, did it do anything, or do you recall?
They told me that I got a 404. I had sent Jill a note telling her exactly what the message said, but it was one of these ones where you can't get to the server. for some
I
reason.
have a resident ID, resident logon I can try as a test beta, so I'll
Yeah.
confirm that.
Now, it may have been just those couple of
I have a
days when
resident
I was
ID,
trying it, it
resident
wasn't working,
logon I can
but-
try
but
as
I
a
couldn't
test
get
beta,
it.
so I'll confirm that.
Was it before yesterday when it was supposed to go live? 'Cause that
Yeah,
happened to me, it was
no, no,
before.
it was not before, no, it was after it went live.
It happened to me before it was supposed to
It
go
was after it
live.
went live,
Okay.
yeah. No, no, it was not before.
So I have obviously the app, we have the access registration codes as an issue. I'll add the technical issues. Have some other items that
registration codes is an issue.
Jason's let me know about as well from Jill. So, but the gatehouse is assisting in any residents calling the gatehouse to get them registered as well, so it can take some of the relief off of, hopefully some of the relief off of the office. And I'm trying to have them go back and look at, see if they can send an email out to every resident with, via their email address, and just give them, just like we're doing in the office, here's your passcode, you can log in now. But we need to rectify they can do that.
Just give them, just like we're doing in the
And
office.
I
Here's
noticed
your
online
passcode.
that
You can log in now. But we need to rectify they can do that.
they had, they had dates that went out to the 31st of March.
Yep.
Is that what we just put in as a placeholder, is that it?
Yeah, what you need, what everyone needs to do is confirm that those, what happened was when this file transferred over, you have temporary guests and you have permanent guests. That they all come over as permanent with an expiration of March to allow everyone to review their list and update it. So if you don't want them on there as permanent, you need to delete them. If you want to go ahead and keep them as a permanent, then assign them as such. That makes sense. We need to probably make sure, Jason, that's clear too. That's a little, an issue that everyone needs to know about, the permanent guest list. I'll go over it with you.
An issue that everyone needs
It
to know
is.
about the permanent guest list.
Everybody comes as permanent.
31, everybody comes in as Well, it still marks them as temporary.
Right.
It
is.
It gives a 3/31 expiration.
Everybody comes as
Right.
permanent.
Yeah.
So we need to go ahead and have each resident update their list.
Now, one of those
Right.
permanent residents of mine was one of my
Everybody
guests
comes as
today.
Right.
permanent.
Mhm.
So we need to go ahead and
I
have
could
each
go in and
resident
change
update their
them-
list.
Change them to permanent.
Okay?
And they came in and they say they got a
Right.
pass that was good
We need to go
into
ahead and
August.
have each resident update
Does that make sense?
That's longer than you wanted them?
Well-
No, that's fine. With me, is it giving me 6 months worth?
Yeah.
Because I've just changed it
Well-
to be permanent?
Yes,
Okay. That's-
Yes.
That's probably it. Yeah, it would be just 6 months.
Yeah.
that's
probably.
correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay.
Well,
Not a problem.
Yeah, the pass, meaning,
Yes.
the pass criteria is different from the permanent criteria, meaning that we've agreed to
Yeah,
that
the
criteria
pass,
that we
meaning,
want,
yes.
you know,
The
a
pass
family member
criteria is
permanent
different
to
from
be
the
60
permanent
days,
criteria,
or
meaning
6
that
months rather.
we've agreed
And
to
that's
that
fine.
criteria
And if
that
any
we
point
want
that you delete them off that list, when we
permanent
scan that
60
pass,
days,
it'll
6
say
months
it's
rather.
invalid.
And that's
So we'll
fine.
have to
And
pull
if
it and
any
then do
point
some
that you
research,
delete
call
them off
you and
that
say if
list,
you
when we
want these
scan
folks to
that
have
pass,
access or not.
it'll
Did
say
you do the
invalid.
text message and email notification part? Did you get your email notification?
Did you do the text
Okay.
message and email notification?
What I meant, but is when you
Did you get
registered
your
all
email notification?
your guests when they come through, you should have received an email address if you set that up on your email.
What I meant, but is when you registered
You have to-
your guests when they
Okay.
come through, you should have
Okay.
received an email.
Yeah, check it and you
address.
should have an
Set
email
that up
saying
on
that
your
your folks have come through.
registered.
So that's obviously
Okay.
some of the benefits.
Okay. Yeah, check
So
it.
this
You
is
should have
a
an email
top
saying
priority
that
for me
your folks
and
have
my
come
staff, as well as Dwelling Alive, to try to rectify this access
So
control
this
issue.
is
That's
a
number
top
one.
priority
The-
for
The
me
gates I'll confirm
and my
once they're,
staff, as well
once
as
they're
Dwelling Alive,
secure.
to try to
I'll
rectify this access control
inform
issue.
Jason of that, so we can let everybody know
The
here on
gates
the
I'll
group that
confirm
we're
once
taking
they're-
care of that.
Once it's secure.
And then the app, I'll have to show you, I'll have to help work you
Jason
on
of
and
that,
see if we
so
can
let
figure that
everybody
out,
know on the group that we're taking care of that.
and resolve that.
And then
So it is
the app,
a focal point for me and my staff as well as Dwelling Alive, so. And resolve that. So it is a focal point for me and my staff as well as Dwelling Alive, so.
I'll have that out Saturday.
Once we get more information, yeah.
So it is a focal point.
Please take into account, once I get it out, because it may take a couple hours.
We get more information.
For it to reach everybody. Please take into account what I say this afternoon, maybe this evening.
That's fine. That's great that we can get it done today. Awesome.
Okay. Any other questions of Bob?
Background checks?
Well, I wanted to, he's,
Okay.
this is a Jan issue, actually.
Okay.
Jason, do you have any other? You don't have anything else?
Okay.
Let's move on to.
Just as a side note, we did get a notice about falling line and other order.
Oh, you did?
You didn't read it yet. I
Thank
didn't-
you.
They didn't go to each board member for approval before I had it.
Jan, you wanna talk a little bit about background checks?
Background checks. I've spoken with 3 security gurus, all of them careerists in security areas. 2 of them are from the GSCDD. One of them prefers not to be mentioned because they've not heard about the mandate from the GSCDD to manual, and they don't want it raised. So he said, don't mention my name. The other one, he was fine with it. He spoke with someone from CDD, Anthony, based on my first phone call to him about 6 weeks ago. They've not heard about the mandate either, but he said to Anthony, are we supposed to do anything? He said, we're not security, we're access control. And Anthony said, no. So you don't have to worry about it.
Who was Anthony?
Someone, he said someone with the CDD.
Must be Tony Perez.
Tony? Can we find, yeah, I mean, that doesn't sound right, because Tony was one of the people who told us that's what the CDD, that's what the board said, and that's what we gotta do.
If it's the same guy,
Just
then
the
this
attorney.
guy,
Just we need a last name.
not to
Yeah,
worry.
he always goes by Tony, not Anthony.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll ask.
Can I ask a question? How much is this costing
He
us
always goes
annually?
by Tony.
If we implemented it, it would cost well over
Can I ask a
$100,000.
question? To do security background checks?
I thought it was $2,000.
No.
$100 per employee.
That doesn't
Yeah.
sound.
Security
Yeah.
background?
$100 per
Couple
employee.
thousand a year, probably,
Yeah,
worst
a
case.
couple $1,000s.
Yeah,
is
yeah.
what the number
It's
was.
like $100. And if we have the trip, we have no travel.
So one of the gurus told me it would cost about $100,000 a year. So given that we do it when we hire the visitor access and control guards at we still need Securitas to change the contract language to get rid of that security phrase. What all three gurus said, it doesn't provide 1 single ounce of extra safety to anybody. It provides nothing. It's of no use. So, I would argue, from my perspective, and this is just Jan's perspective, that we currently have enough measures in place, based on what Sarah sent me months ago, and we get constant reports if there's any violations from our guards in any way, shape, or form. I think if we can change the contract to say access control, I think we're covered in terms of making our community as safe as it can be.
Okay, I'm good with that.
Yeah, my suggestion would be, but I'd be interested in others, is Jan, to have you prepare a memo that we can present to the board, to the supervisors.
Stating what you just said,
Stating,
yeah.
you know, giving this background and stating just what you said, and that we would include it with our monthly report, which would go not to the meeting on the 16th, but to the meeting after that, the first meeting in March, on the 2nd, I guess. So we would present that as, you know, this is why we think we shouldn't have to do it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Okay.
Just basically saying,
Yep.
after researching with people in the field,
Right. We
This
think
is-
it
this is
doesn't-
what we
in
think
other
we should
words,
But I
everything
would be
we-
curious to
basically
know
saying,
if any of the
after
other
researching
CDD
with people in the
communities are
field,
doing anything like
this
this.
is what we think we should do.
I would be curious to know if any. Bill Guy mentioned at the last meeting that he didn't give approval to the one company that we had mentioned, and that's the company I'm talking to. Bill Guy mentioned, they're not doing anything.
You mean the CDD, when you say company? No.
Gateway
the
Greens.
HOA.
Right, Gateway Greens, they're not doing anything. And his comment, the Gateway Greens guy comment to me was, his name is Jim Page. Who else is doing this? He says, I'm not hearing anything about anyone doing Gateway Greens guys.
If it ain't broke, let's not fix it, that's kind of where I feel.
Stony Brook came to the board meeting and said,
If it ain't broke,
we don't need to do
let's not
this
fix it, that's kind of where I feel.
because of the reasons you stated. The CDD board didn't give them any problems.
They didn't.
Okay,
Okay.
good, I'll do the memo.
Yeah. So, and in fact, we should probably say on the memo, we don't, you know, as a result, we don't plan to do this. We understand that there are other communities that don't.
Well, it doesn't matter if anyone else is or not, we're covered
I
really,
understand
really
that.
well.
I understand that. Yep.
Securitas has done a good job, Castle's
Yep.
done a good job making sure that we're safe. That was bothering me.
Okay.
So I'll do that.
Okay.
Do I send it just to you guys?
You send it, yeah, send it
To Diane to distribute.
to Diane to distribute.
Okay, is that a Florida rule too?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sunshine
That's
rules.
the reason we
You
go
can't
through
send
Diane.
any-
We have to
That's the
send
reason
everything
we
to
go-
her.
That's the reason we go through Diane.
And that's one we follow.
I know you guys do. I see
Yeah, that
it.
one's, that's an
I
important,
wonder.
send everything to her.
You guys report Diane.
Yeah.
It has to be on a government server. That's the
Yeah,
reason.
that's an important, and.
So that they have a record on a government server of any of our emails.
And
Okay.
So that they have a record on a
It was
government
Joe
server
McCulca
of any of our emails.
is the one at Stony Brook, and he's also had the security company at Stony Brook.
How do you spell his last name?
Joe McCulca.
And we have
MIKULKA.
Stony Brook too, so I have all that
Yeah,
information.
he's-
I could reach out to Joe, because we manage that association.
Huh?
Castle manages Stony Brook now,
Yeah.
so I know Joe, so I'd be happy, if you need anything, just let me know and I can reach out.
I would like his phone number.
Okay.
I'll ask him.
Anything further on this issue?
Mhm.
Okay. Capital Reserve Study, Ron, I assume that you have not had a chance to do anything on that?
Yeah, that's correct. I apologize for that.
Well, I understand. You got personal issues that prevent you from doing that, so we're gonna have to leave that open, but it's certainly something that we have to do.
Right.
We're gonna have to leave that open, but it's certainly something. Okay, PBAC charter, of course, Tony hasn't given you anything on that, obviously.
No, absolutely nothing.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to bring up, and maybe people don't care, maybe I'm the one who's psyched up about this. Does anybody feel that we ought to elect the officers of the committee, which is really just the chairperson and vice chairperson, Or are you satisfied that we just keep going the way we are?
Do we have a line of people begging to do this work?
No,
Good
No,
question.
This is not new people for the committee.
Well, anyone who, I mean, if we're gonna have an election, then anyone can run.
Good
No,
question.
it would be just, the committee would
The committee
choose.
would just select.
Oh.
It's just a
We're
7
not
up.
talking election.
I have no problem, and I'd like to just recommend that we stay as we are.
Stay as we are,
If
okay.
the officers accept.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
As long as Phil does all the work, I'm okay.
End of discussion.
The officers accept.
End of discussion, I won't bring it up again. You have item number 7 on the agenda. You have a memo that Nancy sent in. Apparently, the CDD approved the lift, final lift for that section of,
Viadana.
well, in front of Viadana,
Yeah.
that section of Pelican
Correct.
Boulevard. And the only question is how we're gonna get it done, and this memo covers
Yeah.
4 possibilities. And what Danny is saying is, the first one, they're gonna reach out and see whether they can, to Lee County vendors to see if they'll be willing to honor the old prices. If not, we'll just go out for bids and get it done. So that's something that's been done.
That's Tony's February 7th letter.
Huh?
That was the question. Is that Tony's
No,
February?
it's this,
That's Tony's.
Diane
February
just
7th.
gave us.
Oh.
It's a memo from Nancy.
Got it.
Got it? Okay, any further discussions on that? GSCDD board meeting report, you have your reports, does anybody have any questions on those? They're in the packet. And we've sent them out through Diane, so John reported on one meeting, I believe I reported on another one.
And I reported on
And
one.
Bob reported on one.
Yeah, and the only comment I have is on the January 19th board meeting.
Yeah.
They approved funds not to exceed 100,000 to do line 27, which we previously talked about. But when the invoices came in, April didn't remember.
Okay,
So we started the whole thing going back around. I'll take care of that.
okay.
Invoices came in.
Any other questions on the board meeting report? If not, we'll move on to Pond's work group.
Okay, I've passed out a couple of things, and I've got one more to give out. Everybody get a copy of this, the downspout drainage project. We had a meeting this morning with the residents of Tiberio and Valentina. We've previously been meeting with their board to explain everything we're gonna do and how we're gonna do it, and to get their buy-in to do the annual clean out, et cetera. And it went very, very well. There weren't any comments. The committee, the residents are aware of it, and they are interested. The status of it is that we have Copeland Enterprises as the vendor. It's a $73,000 project, which kind of exceeds their, it's a family-run company, and that puts them in a bind. So the contract, as written and accepted by the district, said that we would give them a 50% down payment deposit. But then Ms. White got into this and decided that we can't do that, and got Tony to say, yeah, we don't extend credit to people, which is absolutely ridiculous, because we've done it in a number of other projects, but be that by as it may. I then asked Tony if we got a receipt for the purchase of the raw materials, could we get that reimbursed? He said yes. We sent off a receipt, and April said, whoa, doesn't say it's paid. So now that's kind of where I'm at. I'm still bouncing back and forth with this. It's just much ado about nothing. The only other variable in the project, because we are ready to go, is that the city of Fort Myers, in their wisdom, decided that we needed a permit to do this work. We've done it a dozen times, and we've never had to have a permit. In your neighborhood, we did it, okay? So the bottom line of that is, we've got to give them a couple $1,000s to get a permit. So we told the contractor, no problem. I went through Tony and with Tetra Tech. So the contractor knows, do what you gotta do, we'll reimburse you, we'll amend the contract. So that's kind of where that stands. Now we're waiting for the permit. I did talk to Gail, who was our council person. And she put me in touch with, this was at the Alliance meeting, with the code enforcement officer and Said, and everybody's like drinking ducks, yeah, we'll do that. But it hasn't happened. Now it's, almost Friday of the next week. But we're pressing forward. We will get that. Okay, new topic, the track L inspection. You have before you a copy, a 3-page report. Okay, new topic. A 2-page and then some comments from Morris Riley on what we found on track L. So now I've got to get with WCI to say, as soon as you fix what they say needs fixing, we'll take track L. But we have a number of.
Take track L, pond.
Yes, excuse me. I'm only talking to ponds, very provincial. But these are the restrictions that's holding up pond's approval of us accepting track L. So we'll move on with that one. And lastly, the aeration for phase 2, which is the last of old Pelican and a couple of new. We're still going through the legal gyrations of securing the correct easements and the power power availability at the locations we want to put it. And I was hoping to have an answer today. I'm sure I'll have it by next week. But once those 2 components are finished, then we put it out for bid. So we're getting closer. I'm still optimistic we can get it done by the rainy season. But that's it. We had a good meeting with the Residents Alliance, I thought. Bill, you did a good job explaining where we are, and we've gotten basically pretty good comments. That's it. We had a good meeting with the Residents
Any
Alliance.
questions, Bob? Is, Tony aware of this?
I have not shown that with him yet, but no one's approached me for the latest, are we ready to accept it or
Yeah.
whatever. But I will share
Let
that
me-
I have not.
If you would send it
But
through
no one's
Diane
approached
to
me.
me.
Okay.
I would appreciate it.
But I
because
will
I
share
want-
that. No sweat.
I wanna keep
We'll
it.
do that.
Okay.
And the comment that I made earlier about the January 19th meeting where they approved $100,000, the contractor that we have, Extreme Divers, submitted a bid to us. And it wasn't very professionally done, in my opinion, even though we have a lot of history with this guy. He came in at $124,000, so I just summarily rejected that. He revised it to $110,000, and I'm going to reject that. If he can't get it down under 100, so Doug Zanter is now canvassing some other suppliers. If this guy can't, toe the line, then go someplace else. We are going to keep it under $100,000. We know what we want, and we feel that we know what we should be paying. That concludes it.
Any questions of Bob? Okay, we're on to capital assets. John?
I wrote a brief report regarding that the new O&M agreement will be going to the CDD for approval per Tony's memo, which I also sent in advance through Diane to everybody. Tony's memo gives a rough outline of some of the changes that were from the original. I'm not gonna go through each of those. I think you all had a chance to review it. If there were any questions, it's been discussed extensively. All right. We did approve the O&M agreement, the revised agreement at our last meeting. There was some minor revisions in it, basically having to do with this retainer. That's in my report. I will ask the chairman, do we have to vote again to?
I don't think so,
Okay.
as long as the board is willing to go forward with it, which they will be based on Tony's memo. I don't think we have to do anything else.
Okay, that concludes my report.
Okay. And this, of course, is one of the reasons that Nancy's gonna be doing the review that she's doing.
But that's basically, I assume, having to do with Stephen Bloom and being sure he's.
Well, yeah, well, it's,
And
and it
Jason.
having to do with how, Castle and the PPCA is
Right,
going to operate. Under the agreement. Safety and Security Work Group. Also going to the February 16th meeting will be the traffic control agreement for approval of the board. And that traffic control agreement has now been agreed to by the city staff and also by ourselves. Once approved by the board, it will then have to go to the city council. And the city council will have to approve it. Then after the city council approves it, the engineering department, the city engineering department will have to come in and check the signs, make sure that our our signs are in conformance with all the MUC requirements. And once that is done, we will then meet with the Safety and Security Work Group, will meet with the Fort Myers Police Department, and I hope we can include the Lee County Sheriff's Office and set up a program to start to actually implement the traffic control.
Bill, when you mentioned this at the Resident Alliance meeting, a couple people were talking about if we allow police into our community to patrol speeding, et cetera, that we're gonna see, and I have no idea what the foundation for this comment is, significantly decreased revenues for destinations. Has anyone said anything?
What?
Then
why
maybe
would
I can
there
get a
be effect on
reservation,
that?
that's good.
Yeah, remember the guy who wanted to expand destinations because he couldn't get in? Maybe
Yeah.
we'll avoid that expense. No, I see no reason for that.
What would the
And
connection be?
even if it
They're
were-
drinking and they're in their golf carts, they're afraid to get
Even if,
stopped by.
even if it were true, people shouldn't, they shouldn't be disobeying the law.
Yeah.
So, we're talking about safety here. And if you got people, as Gary Neubauer kept saying, if somebody who's had too much to drink hits one of my grandchildren, they're gonna be held to pay. And I think that, that's,
valid.
we're trying to enforce safety regulations.
Hey, Bill?
Yes.
Bill, let me make a comment.
Sure.
You need to understand that the Fort Myers Police Department can enforce DUI.
Even now.
Today. They don't need this agreement to pick somebody up for DUI, and they haven't done it in 15 years, so.
In Pelican?
Yes,
This
in
is
Pelican.
a big increase in people giving tickets for DUI. It isn't gonna happen.
In Pelican?
They can, at this time, even without the agreement, they can give tickets for unsafe driving. It's
But they-
only, it's only a question of can they enforce the speed limits? That is the only question. Speed
And the
limits
stop
And
signs.
stop signs.
And that
And
seems to
stop
be the
signs.
biggest problem. I don't see people weaving around the roads.
Yeah.
I see them go right straight through stop signs and 45, 50 miles an hour, but I don't see people that appear to be drunk.
And I acknowledge there was the guy who said we should take a vote on this.
I agree.
We're not taking a community vote on this. This has been around for too long a time.
I think you had an overwhelming majority of the people in favor of having the speed limits and the stop signs enforced.
I actually heard people say on their way out that they were only there to hear that we were gonna start having police in to enforce.
Really, yeah.
Yes, they were very
I-
pleased
I
about
think
that.
that they were only there to hear
that we were gonna start having police in to enforce.
And I brought it up again at the president's meeting this morning, and there's no question in my mind that the huge majority of the presidents supported it as well, so I think we're okay on that.
So,
Can they give tickets to people riding in golf carts?
They can, but probably will not, truth be told.
What?
And
And they can bicycles
They can
too.
bicycles too, whether they will or not, I think it's really open to question, to be very frank about it.
And they can bicycle.
Yeah, in speaking to them when I was on the working group, the police said, in fact, I forget the name of the community, one of our neighbor communities who have golf carts, then have this agreement in place, and they've had it in place for like 7 or 8 years, and the police have never given a ticket to the golf carts.
Now, the one.
I don't think we're gonna find that happening in our community.
The one thing you should be aware of is that there is a proviso in the agreement, if at some later date, the city finds that their resources are so stretched that they feel they need to charge for this, they will come back to us, and then at that point, we'll need to make a decision as to whether we're willing to pay. I have no idea what the charge would be, but that we would be willing to pay. But at this point, it is it's a freebie from the city. Any questions on that?
Freebie in terms of our taxes.
Huh? Yeah, freebie, because we pay taxes.
Yeah.
And we pay,
A lot of
a lot of taxes, a lot of taxes. So we should, we should be.
some benefit.
Yeah.
A lot.
The other thing I should talk about for the Safety and Security Work Group is we're almost there with our contract with Johnson Engineering for the traffic study. I hope we can get it going in the next week or so that we at least have most of February and all of March to allow them to do
For
this.
the high intensity of usage, yes.
Yes, so that we can see what's happening during that time. We're having them look at the issues of the shoulder specific, they're doing a general study, but we've asked them to look at some specific things, one of them being what should be done with the shoulder lane as far as a bike path indoor, a bike and golf cart path. We're having them take a specific look at the speed limit on Pelican Preserve Boulevard after the bridge, because the Viadana people have sent us a resolution from their board that they wanted increased to 25 miles an hour from 15. Their major purpose being that if it's increased to 25, it can be enforced by the police. We are having them look at the traffic. They're going to be looking at the traffic on the path, the preserve path, to see if there are any recommendations they might have there. So it's it'll be a pretty good study, and I think will give us some answers to some of the things that we've been concerned about. Oh, they're also going to look at the big crossing right at Benito and Pelican Preserve Boulevard, the big circle where we feel that there are some potential problems. And the study will include Cypress Grove Drive, because that will be part of the community very shortly, apparently. And so that study will go forward, and we'll report to you as it goes on.
Why would a traffic study include the preserve?
Because there's lots of traffic through the preserve, and what we're
Carts
concerned
and bikes.
and we're concerned of bikes and golf carts, and we're concerned about safety in the preserve.
Anybody ever been hurt?
They've come awful near it.
I've been here almost 15 years. Anybody ever been hurt? I just asked. Because, we all bought, and that was available to bikes and
Yeah,
golf carts.
by the way, we're not suggesting that.
Well, I was just wondering why it would even be in the study. I mean, I see traffic.
Ours,
We're gonna shut it off.
ours is on our property.
Yeah, it could be shut off. And by the way,
Well, that's a portion of it. I mean,
That's all of it, we shut it off from the
yeah,
road.
it could be shut
Well,
off.
after
you still come in from the tennis side or whatever. Well, that's a portion
the
of it.
wooden path.
Yeah, well, you can go up anywhere in the preserve itself, and around. You only cut it off from that last little segment.
No,
Well,
from the road
you can go up anywhere in the preserve itself.
pond.
Yeah, right, that's one little segment.
Okay.
Yeah.
We, the Safety and Security Work Group believes that is there are potential hazards on that path, and particularly where there's some of the sharp turns. Golf carts, and I have almost been hit in there, walking in there by golf carts coming around the turn. So we've asked them to go take a look at that.
And is the issue they're just going too fast?
People going
And
too
is that
fast.
your problem with it, they're going too
They go
fast?
too fast, it's too narrow.
Is the issue they're
You
just
got
going
more
too
people
fast?
walking, you got people
And
coming
is
on
that
golf
your
carts
problem with it, they're
behind,
going
you
too
got
fast?
bicycles with their little bells. I don't use it, but I have, and it's dangerous. If you talk to people that walk a lot, you'll hear a lot of them. I don't.
Now, are you talking about shutting it off only to like cart traffic or bike
Weird.
traffic, or?
We're in negotiations right now to get it,
No, are you talking about
to
shutting
give
it
them
off
an
only to
easement
like
for
cart
that.
traffic or bike traffic?
They've been jacking us around for 2 years, so we're about ready to just shut it off.
Completely.
From the road to however far we can.
But I mean, even to pedestrian traffic,
No, just golf carts.
just golf carts, okay.
From the road to however. But I don't know if we
But
can do that
even to
legally without
pedestrian
doing it all.
I think it would have to be
I think it'd have to be all. See, that's the problem.
It's a
you get
liability
with
for us.
Hope you got a good legal fund.
Yeah, it's liability for us.
Okay, any other questions on that?
Hope you got a good legal fund.
Yeah.
As part of that, this really doesn't involve safety or traffic, but I get back into the conveyance issue. And some new issues have come up on conveyance, that we've added, in addition to the ones, Bob, that you have, that are gonna be a problem for us.
For track L, or,
And track
Or
L.
anything, okay.
And in track L, there was a spill of diesel oil on the road in Corona. And in fact, it's happened a couple of times, and apparently it's
the WCI
the picture.
person that's cleaning their pipes.
Yes, exactly.
Sewer viewer.
The sewer viewer people have dumped oil there. It's been reported the hazmat people are very concerned about it, and I am told that if you leave that there, it does nasty things to the road very quickly. So that's an issue that's come up, and we want that resolved by WCI before anything happens. The other thing is that I've been told by quite a number of people, and I went out and looked myself a little bit, that some of the landscaping out there, that's our responsibility, is not in terribly good shape. I've asked Jason to have Ameriscape go out and take a look at that, and if we have, major problems with the landscaping out there, or significant problems, I think we're gonna throw that at them too.
Well, the last time we were close to getting transfers, we all took a big walk out there.
I understand that.
Neubauer and, so
Yeah.
we gave them a punch list, and I guess
Yeah.
they fixed it.
Well,
So that's appropriate, I'm saying, that's not really new.
Are you talking like the landscaping at the monuments and things
Yeah,
like that?
yes, exactly.
Because it is bad. I
And in
walked,
Center
looked
Island,
at some of them
Center
this
Island,
morning.
Just all of it.
Yeah.
all of the stuff that will become our responsibility.
It's in bad
So we,
shape.
we don't wanna,
Yeah.
have them stick us with something where we had to do a lot of
Bunch of
work.
dead
There's
things,
no,
right?
there's no mulch in some of them,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
plants missing, there's
And
dead
there-
plants,
And
it's a
there, and
mess.
it looks to me like there's some dead plants along the roadway.
There is.
Just needs to be up to snuff.
Yeah, exactly. It looks to me like there's some dead. So-
But it's a shame to go back to the spill, that we have to ask a supplier that comes out here and screws up our roads, that we gotta ask them to fix it. But it's a shame to go back to that ought to be automatic, but whatever, that we have to ask a supplier that comes out here and screws up our roads, we gotta ask them to fix it. But it's a shame.
Why isn't WCI addressing all these issues?
Well, they should be.
They should be. That's what we're
And they
saying.
may be.
We're saying they
Yeah.
gotta address them.
This is theirs, John, it's not
Th-
ours.
This is, it's
I
not
know,
ours.
that's my
But-
point.
But we're saying, before we take any of this stuff, you must, WCI.
In the
you have
event
to-
they're slow, or they don't, or
You
whatever.
have to address these issues.
I think the hazmat aspect, and I read that, I think I personally think that's a little overkill.
Yes.
But, I think the quantity of spillage versus the quantity of our ponds, and I'm very sensitive to that, it's negligible. But the detriment of the road is
The detriment of
significant.
the road is significant and
Needs to be
something
dealt
they
with.
gotta address.
But that was a frustration effort by that resident, because he couldn't get WCI to do the right thing. Well, you don't wanna do it, I'll go to hazmat, and he did, and good for him. That was a frustration effort by that resident, because he couldn't get WCI to do the
John?
right thing.
Any other questions about that? Okay. I put CDD job descriptions on
Oh,
there,
can
John.
I,
Oh, I'm sorry,
one
Nancy.
more safety question. There was something in one of our numerous emails we get from WCI about asking people not to park on the street or park on one side of the street for safety issues. When I first moved here, I walk early in the morning when it's just starting to get light, and if there was a car parked in the street overnight, they always had a warning sticker put on them, reminding them there's no overnight parking. They haven't been doing that anymore. I walk early every day, and I see cars parked that are out there overnight, and they're not putting those warnings on anymore.
Well, I know, in our neighborhood, they're consistently parking every night.
Yeah, they're,
Okay.
I haven't seen one in
Okay,
probably a year.
Because they're, I suspect there's.
Security should be doing that, yeah.
Security should be.
The rover,
Mm-hmm.
the rover
Yeah.
should be doing that.
Yeah, we,
Security
we
should be
have to
doing that,
keep
yeah.
bringing
rover.
these things up so that
rover should
the
be doing
guards know that. I brought one up, Bob, just a week or so ago. One of the things they're supposed to be doing is if people leave their garage doors open at night, they're supposed to be calling people to warn them, well, somebody told me he left his garage door open all night and he didn't get any call from them.
My next door neighbor did last night, and I called him at 10 o'clock. to tell them their garage door was open.
And that's typically what happens. I call my neighbors, they
Yes,
call
I
me.
know, and I got a call from.
But you're right, the rover should be,
The rover should be doing that.
and that's typically what happens. I call my neighbors, they call me.
I raised his
But you're right, the rover should be,
Do we have any significant crimes, break-ins, thefts in the past year? Have we had any?
Not in the past year, but in the past 2 years, we have
Well,
had.
we had the cars that were stolen last year.
right.
Yes, well.
That was 2 years
Oh,
ago.
that's right. It
Charity
was-
event, and we let outsiders
Oh,
come in.
That
You're
was
right,
last year.
you're right, it was
That
last
was
year.
2016.
It was last
Was
year.
it?
2015,
That was
they
two
came in
years
from
ago.
the screens.
Right.
The one in
It was
Trentino.
was vandalism.
Vandalism.
Very little, and the short answer is very little.
Very little, but.
But we don't want
a
any.
house- A house right up the street on the other side of.
Very
the
little, and the short answer is very little.
Broken into. The guys came in.
We don't want
to the
any.
house.
Oh, yeah.
To the house and stole stuff.
Kimes home.
The Kimes home. They stole stuff and they stole a couple of cars.
And she was home.
She was home.
Kimes home.
She was home.
Do we know who it was?
Well, no, they never caught him.
And she was
They never
home.
caught him, we never
We
was
called
home.
the cars, but they were never.
They were never apprehended.
They came over the tree line fence, well, the fence wasn't there.
Yeah.
The fence was the outgrowth of that.
Right.
Well, so my point
They
is,
came over the tree line,
I still would like
fence,
to
well,
know
the
how
fence
much
wasn't
we're
there.
paying for
The
road
fence
control.
was the
And is there an
outgrowth.
option for neighborhoods to opt out of that expense?
No. It's community shared expense.
So.
We either, as a community don't have the rover, Or we do.
It's up, if we wanna recommend
We either-
rovers be
we as a
eliminated,
community
we
don't
could
have the rover.
recommend that.
yeah,
But
we do. That will be an extremely tough sell.
I think so.
That will be a road you can't get over.
Because they are not only security.
That
There,
would be
there are things like
A lot of medical things have come up with the road.
garage doors, medical things.
Busted hoses, with water spreading
Right.
everywhere.
Yep.
A lot of things they.
A lot of things going on in the community now.
And the fact that, somebody's riding around. That gives people a lot of sense of security.
It is not
And the fact
only
that
for
somebody's riding
security, crime security.
People a lot of
They-
sense of
it-
security.
it is not
If a belligerent individual comes to the gate and demands entrance, they will have their rover follow that person until the police arrive. If a belligerent individual. There's a lot of things that go on with that.
So.
Isn't the roving vehicle owned by Pelican Preserve? Or is that owned by Securitas?
It's leased.
It's leased, but it's
Leased
paid for.
Through the Securitas contract.
It's a part of the Securitas
Or is that
contract.
owned by Securitas? Okay.
But we upped the contract price to allow for that.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So,
It's a part of the Securitas contract.
I would
But
still.
we upped the contract
I'm
price
not
to allow.
arguing with you, I really am not, I just would like to know how much we're paying for it.
That's-
Figure it's about half the cost.
Pardon?
It's about half the cost of our total contract.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
I would like to know how much we're paying for
Figure it's about
road
half the cost.
patrols.
We can tell you that.
The labor, it's about,
We can get you a copy of the
yeah,
contract.
it's about half the cost if my memory's right. It's expensive.
You're paying for the man hours.
The labor, it's about,
Expensive,
yeah, it's
so
about half the cost if
community
my
members,
memory's
is this
It's,
really?
it's expensive.
Have we ever polled the residents to see if they think this is worth the expense?
We have received comments that, at one time, we were talking about not doing it, and that we were overwhelmed with, don't you even consider that? Comments. I was here for one of those. Nancy could speak to that too. At the time, there was no consideration given to that. And one of the ways that this came up was, if we have to put on another gate, the expense, what would it be? Well, it's gonna be about 50% of what we're paying now. Not for a rover, but the gate costs were, the one gate is 50, the rover's 50, and if we put another one, it would be equal to those, another 50% increase. The gate costs were the one gate,
If we put in another gate, wouldn't it just be like most of the other communities where it's
all
not a
of,
manned
all of ours are
gate?
manned. Well, I mean, that's another option, but right now, all of our gates were manned, and that is the way
Yeah,
it was
so
under
we have one,
consideration.
yeah.
Instead it was
And
manned.
then
Well, I mean,
I
that's
have
all
one
another
question,
option.
it's
Right now,
completely
all
because
of our
I'm new
gates
and I
were
just don't
manned, and
know.
that was the way it
Is
was.
there any way we can own Pelican Preserve and make it private and make our community gated?
Now you are getting into an issue that is very deep. There are people thinking about that, but
It's complicated.
it's very.
But it could be
Very
done.
complicated.
There's a movie by that name.
It could be done.
It could be done.
It would take years to do it.
It would take years to do it, and
But it
if
could
we
be
were to
done.
split off from the Gateway CDD,
could be
it
done.
would probably take
It would
legislation.
take years to
Right,
do
it
it.
has to go through.
It has to, it
Oh,
would
yeah.
take, it would take Florida, state of Florida
Right.
legislation.
Because the
to
CDD
allow
has
us
to
do
give us the
that.
roads, they have to seed them over, there's a whole lot
A whole
to it.
bunch of stuff.
It would be advantageous, but it is
There are-
difficult.
CDD has to
there are-
give us the roads,
There
they
are
have to seed them over,
bonds
there's a
involved,
whole lot to it.
let me tell you.
It would be
That-
advantageous.
But I
Could be
wanted to
done,
ask.
but it could be done.
I wanted to ask, because I've been thinking about it.
You're not asking something somebody hadn't asked before.
Let me tell you, people have asked that
Could be
question.
done, but it could be done. And if
Need to answer down.
the community ever felt like we were being abused by CDD, we would probably go that
Yeah.
route.
I think that,
But I don't know, it saves us money, because then we'd have to build this.
yeah.
Well, we'd have all the expenses, like right now, we only pay a portion of attorney
Right.
expenses,
But we'd have
engineering
to have all of it.
expenses. We'd have to have all that. We'd have all the expenses.
So we wouldn't do it to save money,
There's a lot of issues.
but we would because of political issues, unless they start taxing us in a way that we feel is
I was
undue.
thinking safety issues.
But
If we were actually a gated
Unless they start
community,
taxing
Yeah,
us.
but
we
that,
can deny people access.
that's right, but.
We can make our community.
Understand
But
that.
making us a gated community involves splitting off from the CDD, and there are all sorts of issues involved with that, because there are bonds that we.
That they've
were taken
guaranteed
out,
for X
that
number of
were
years.
Guaranteed by this CDD for building all the infrastructure, so you
They've
have
guaranteed
to
for X
figure
number
out
of
how,
years. Yeah, not saying it couldn't be done yet, but it's a
Couldn't be done.
big
but
hill.
It's a big, it's not, geez, it would be a nice idea.
Not saying it couldn't be
It's a
done.
15% grade hill
Big
on a
hill.
bike.
It's a tough one.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
all right. CDD job descriptions, John, you were
Yes,
gonna get into
we
this.
talked to April. April did send them to all of us. I hope you received them, and if anybody had any. no,
I
they're not in
received
the
them, but I
packet.
didn't understand them.
To all of us.
I'm serious, I received them, but I couldn't differentiate between Schumacher's job and role and April's job and role. I'm serious, I received them, but I couldn't differentiate between Schumacher's job and role. It might be me, it just wasn't readily apparent.
All right, that was on the last CDD meeting's agenda for approval of those, and did not see it in the report.
I think I saw it in the packets, I might be wrong.
No, I mean, did the CDD approve those job descriptions
That I do not
as,
know.
who went to the last, we
did
weren't
not.
at the
Nobody
last
went to the
meeting.
meeting.
The CDD approved those
Yeah, here it is, it's
job
a
descriptions as-
summary.
Right. But then April did send it out to all of us, those job descriptions. I have to agree with you, there was.
Ambiguity, I just,
Send it out to all of us,
whatever.
those job descriptions. Can we find out if it was approved at the last CDD meeting?
Ambiguity, I just.
Shouldn't be a secret.
I mean, could we ask somebody in like April?
You got the job, John.
I am.
Why don't you find that out for us
Yes,
next
find
month?
out.
Can I go now and check it out?
Yes,
Ask
you can
her?
go,
Go ask her, yeah.
go right now.
Why
You
don't
have
you
our
find that
permission.
out?
You're
Can
excused
I?
to do it.
We'll have to come back.
Go ask her, yeah.
I'll
You can
volunteer,
sneak out
John,
the
for a
other
couple
door.
of CDD meetings. I'll volunteer,
Sneak out
John,
the
for a
other
couple
door.
of CDD meetings.
Moving beyond that one, let's go to gateway meeting attendance. And moving beyond that one, I think we are set up. We have no one attending I guess it would be the March 2nd meeting. Anybody?
Hey, Phil,
Yes,
can you go back to the meeting on the 16th? I was scheduled.
oh, yes, you are, Ron.
I will not be back in Florida,
Oh, yeah.
so the earliest I'll be
Oh,
back
yes,
is
you are.
on the 2nd. So unfortunately, I will not be able to attend that meeting.
I can attend it for you, although I may not be able to stay until the bitter end, because I do have something going that evening, but I'll pick that one up for you. I can attend it for you, although
All right, good.
stay until the bitter end. March 2nd. Anyone could do March 2nd?
I would volunteer, but I'm going to be in Ireland,
Oh. You wouldn't come back from Ireland?
and I'm not
for a
calling in either.
CDD meeting?
I'll take that.
Bob will take the March 2nd meeting,
And I'm not
okay?
calling in either.
How about March 16th? Any volunteers?
Just
Are you back, Ireland?
Just the night before, so.
No, okay.
No,
Oh.
thank you.
Well, let's see whether John.
Are you back, Ireland?
Just the night before.
No, okay.
No.
Oh,
Okay.
are you back, Ireland?
When's the next one?
I don't.
The 30th?
Would it be no, they don't have 3 in a month. right?
Okay,
Yeah,
then it would be the 6th of April.
6th of April?
30th?
I could do the 6th of April.
No, April 6th,
Okay,
okay?
then it would be the 6th of April, and then April 20th.
April 20th,
You want it Sunday up for that one?
okay?
And then April 20th.
Okay.
That's enough for now.
Yeah, that's enough for now. That's plenty. Just have to get somebody for March 16th.
That's enough for now. John Greger,
Wait, right.
he's out of here.
Committees do that with people who aren't.
John
you know.
Greger. Oh, yes.
Nancy Hall,
He's out of here.
she's done.
Yeah, Nancy's not here. We can
Yeah, Nancy's got other things.
put Gail Schaefer in.
Okay,
She's here anyway.
um,
Yeah, Nancy's not here.
any committee member requests? Audience comments? Sarah, if you come up to the microphone.
I just had a quick question. When you were discussing potential conveyance things with Cypress Grove, does the rest of the
members know about how they're posting 25-mile-per-hour signs out there now?
I don't know
Does the
that
rest of
they
the
know that, but
members
we're
know
trying
about
to
how they're
get to
posting
the bottom of
25-mile-per-hour
why-
signs out
why
there
it's
now?
being done.
Yeah, I guess WCI and Prado, they're posting 25 miles per hour.
25, yeah.
Yes.
So it kind of
Prado.
changes the dynamic. Now we have 15, 25, and 30. It can be very confusing for the members of
the
the
old
the
folks.
residents. Do, it kind of
For the old
changes the
folks.
dynamic. Now we have 15, 25, and 30. It can be very confusing for the members of the
I can
residents.
read between the lines.
Do-
For the old.
Apparently, the engineering plats were, they were laid out that way. 25-mile limits, and who came up with that, I don't know. I've been bugging Barry Ernst about, you know, who did that and why. And any other, audience comments?
I have a question, I'm Wade Paskey from Karina, and I have a question for, I'm representing Joe Schofield.
Yeah.
And I think Joe talked to you.
They always talk with me.
He already talks to you. He's wondering about if there's been any decision on the cleanup of the hydraulic or oil spill down on Karina.
Well, that's one of the things that we're trying to do.
Okay, that's, he just wanted me to know,
Yes.
and he wanted to know if the EPA has contacted you yet. Not yet, okay.
First of all, we don't have anything to do with that community, this organization, not us personally. It is still within the control and the span of authority of WCI. So they would be the only ones that would be contacted.
So then why did Joe ask me to ask you?
I don't know.
Oh, I'll ask Joe when I see him.
But that road belongs to, at this point in time, WCI.
And the only thing that Joe may have, what I told Joe is that we were gonna make sure that we
Take
were
care
gonna
of
put
it.
pressure on WCI by saying we're, you know, one of the things we're not gonna do is we're not taking that road until you correct your problem. But that's.
But they're not
that's the
even
most-
pushing to take it, give us the
they're-
road,
That's the most power we've got. We've got no other power over that road.
Okay.
until we
They're
get
not
it.
Yeah.
Pushing to take it, give us the road.
That's the most power we've got. We've got no other power. John, we're looking for somebody to take the March 16th meeting,
CDD meeting.
CDD meeting. You be available for that? I'm gonna put you.
No, I have people here. I can do February meeting, this one coming up. Or who's doing that? Are you doing that?
I'm doing that.
I cannot do March 16th.
You can, okay.
No, I have visitors that whole week. I cannot do March
You
16th.
wanna do March 2nd, and I'll do the 16th?
I can do the 2nd.
I'll do the 16th.
Okay.
You wanna do March 2nd, and I'll do the 16th?
Teamwork.
Any other audience comments?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you,
Please introduce yourself.
Gail Schaefer,
Yes.
Sienna,
Thank you.
do you expect, or what do you expect the changes will be when Lennar takes over? Do you expect, or what do you?
I expect none, but I don't have any information that
We
they
have
said.
no information. Even Joe Smith doesn't know what's gonna happen. I don't
I
think anybody
expect none,
knows.
but I don't have any
And in fact, I think, at least the last I had heard, it's actually supposed to be done tomorrow.
I think the vote is
That's the
tomorrow.
most-
I think the shareholder vote is tomorrow.
Yeah, the shareholder
The 10th.
vote is
Yeah.
tomorrow, and apparently they've got it all set up, so as soon as the shareholder vote is
Yeah,
finished,
I think the
it's gonna be a
shareholder, it's
done
gonna be a done deal.
no idea.
tenth.
what's gonna happen.
Don't get stopped in WCI.
Well, I mean, we've got a guaranteed price on it, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that, you know, I suspect
Well,
at this
there's-
local level.
I mean, we've got a
we'll
guaranteed
see
price
much
on it,
change,
so it
and they're
doesn't
so
matter.
far along with our community, you know, that would be my guess, but I'm guessing, nobody knows.
Okay.
Okay. They're so far along with our community. Any other audience comments? If not, the next meeting is March 9th. Entertain a motion that we.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Before, I mean, I did find out that the job descriptions were approved by the CDD as written.
Did she give you a copy of
I
it?
did find out that the job descriptions. They were sent out to all of us. You have your copy.
Okay.
They were sent out to all of us.
Find George and send them to me.
I was just gonna say,
I don't think I got
would you
those.
have Diane send them again, cause I don't remember seeing them.
I don't remember getting them.
I didn't get them either.
Yep.
I actually just looked at my email.
So this was done probably
I didn't get them either.
3 or 4 days, no, it's done a week after our meeting. This was done.
And they came from Diane,
It wasn't from Diane, it came directly from
from April?
April.
That's why I
To
searched for it.
everybody.
I
Came
didn't,
direct from
but I
April.
didn't have anything from her.
Never mind.
Did you get the percent, John?
That's why I searched for it. I didn't have
Everything.
anything from her.
Okay, do I have a second to adjourn the meeting? All in favor?
Aye. And my compliments for a 1 hour and 7 minute
I
meeting.
know, thank
What do
you.
we do with all our papers? Can we recycle these somehow?
Absolutely. It's a big blue box in your driveway. You lift the lid and you put them in.
You don't file them after every meeting?
Thank you, Ron. Yeah, things go okay.
That's all right, she's just taking a lot of our way, we'll be all right.
She knows a lot, makes a lot of excuses.
April?
Good meeting.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, yeah, by anybody else. Over and over.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, yeah, by anybody else. I think Ron DuPont must be the reason
I'm
the
sorry, I
meetings
thought
drag
we were
on.
much cleaner.
Ron and Nancy.
state where you can run things.
I think Ron DuPont must be the reason the meetings drag on. Ron and Nancy.
Now I have to entertain people. Start drinking early.
Darn, I hate when I have to do that. Darn, I hate when I have to do that.
I don't know. Doesn't look good, does it?
No.
Wasn't me.
I'm sure.
Wasn't me.
Okay.
So it's very complicated.
How are you doing, darling? I don't like your new television system over there.
Charge a new committee. The other guy quit.
This week is an exception, obviously, but.
Well, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't make a if you're coming in,
I'm not so sure about that. I'm just worried.
I'm resigned myself that I'm going to go to another meeting. But I don't call you that.
It's not they, it's the state and everything else. It's the state.
It's the state, I mean, they didn't intend to make it difficult for us to get out.
They
Set it up, but it's very difficult.
Carry yourself.
Bring up from the
I only carry what I call.
Well, the bond.
The bond, there's something
The
else.
bond, you,
Yeah, I see there's been fine. Yes,
it's about $3 million balance.
Everybody's only got one person.
And this is like 30 minutes later.
That's exactly right, and there's 9 other people.
Right, exactly.
Part of it is self-sustaining.
Well,
That's what I want.
that's well, you're part of now.
Well, yeah, and when you're buying things, you don't have to say anything.
No, the assumption when you buy here is it is a gated
Gated community, sure, and of course, the
Well,
salespeople.
my
Oh, the
first
salespeople
year, I
sell.
said gated
The
and.
salespeople,
Bill
are never,
nearly-
they're never gonna tell you.
Yeah, no, they never did. Because I remember my first meeting here, I said, is it gated? You're like, no, is it apparently we're not. I'm like, what do you mean we're not? And I've told other people that have moved in about this, and they're like, yeah, we are. And I'm like, no, we're not.
But I don't think we're any different than any other gated community here in Florida.
Oh, yeah, oh, yes.
Oh, yeah,
The gated
we are.
community with private roads.
Yes.
Can stop people at the gate and say you can't come in.
Right.
All right,
You look skeptical, John.
well, I'm wondering then, is there a way to just make the roads itself?
Exactly.
All right,
Well-
without going through all this other.
And so,
They were built with public funds, I don't think we can do that without.
not until the bonds are paid as well, yeah. You know, I can't say it's beyond the realm of possibility, but, you know, it's.
But that would be the easiest way rather than
Well,
splitting the
talk about
CED.
easy and logical versus law.
Yeah.
The DRI governs everything.
That would be the easiest.
Who'd you say?
Everything that happens in that community
DRI,
is driven by the DRI,
which means,
the Development of
Regional
Resource
impact.
Impact.
okay, all new acronyms for me here.
Yep, and that, and
Tell
I
me
don't know a
anything
whole
from
lot
these-
about it, all I know is you can't violate. Not even WCI can violate that. And the Residents Alliance holds their feet to the fire. We have people that know that DRI inside and out. I don't.
I knew there was a lot of stuff going on to make us more self-contained, like buying out the town center and all that stuff. But this big CDD thing just,
See, that,
we're gonna do copy from the
The DRI, you can look, go online.
it's online and the Residents Alliance can tell you exactly.
Yeah, it's online.
I think our community, on our community website, I think it's on, Port of Phoenix.
Residents Alliance has it.
I think we have it on ours.
look at it.
Oh, Paul had a major operation again, and he's,
Well, what,
same thing.
No,
Hipping, I don't know how many operations he
they were
had.
supposed to play, trivia with us.
Complications, because he's got other problems. And so the operation exacerbated. I'm not exactly sure.
I mean, I saw him Sunday,
Oh, no, we went down.
We were right there with you.
We went down, and like, Mary and I left before the big fat boat, because we couldn't have won if everybody left.
One of the teams that won was one of the guys that had a cell phone.
One,
Oh, somebody had a cell phone?
Dottie's.
They called him out several times. It was a guest,
Well,
like one of the
well,
sons of
she's
a resident.
having hospice care over there.
Yeah.
She went very much downhill.
Oh, he
She
was looking it up?
went up there. She's
We
sort of
pointed
recovering.
out, she said something and that
Then,
table just looked
as
at
he
her.
said, it gets complicated. And then her,
Somebody should walk her.
her sister's husband.
Absolutely.
His sister's husband's mother died. Another, just another complication of things that just happens, you know? It's- Just another complication of things that just happens.
Well, I understand that.
Hi there.
How are you? Maybe it's just.
Good. You guys all squared away with the, maintenance agreement?
That's why I said, don't need no more changes, let's just agree upon it and be done. That just caught me off guard, because we had left all in agreement. Different fee, all of a sudden, he's like, I have some more revisions. I'm like, what? No. They're lawyers, they can revise all day long.
I know.
They'll revise when they revise, that's what they do.
That meeting was the first time.
Oh, are you?
They'll revise when they revise. I was just like, I was over it, let's get in a room and get it done.
No, it's, I think it's like the 600 something towns under. But still can't
Don't change anything.
We're not talking,
That-
we're just talking, we're just talking about how we're gonna handle the language. Yes, exactly. And we're gonna have to schedule
You
our-
haven't heard
Are
anything.
the fees, the budget?
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's fine.
Just have a really,
It just bugs me.
Yeah, I mean, it's very complicated.
we were, we're trying to work, they finally overnight it, thank God, because we got $800,000.
How's your sciatic?
So, we'll talk about
I mean, it's in the agreement, now, so they gotta do it.
Carson, when you have.
Exactly, well, in theory,
So I
done, in
bought a
theory.
foam roller and started using it at home. I used it when I was for Christmas. And it's got better. The plane trip bothered me. So I upgraded my ticket to Ireland so I could have more room and some sort of, I'll bring my cushion with me. I'm just hoping it doesn't act out, but
Let's just make sure that, yeah.
very good to hear.
Make sure that we-
For the first time in almost a year, I feel.
Dude, that's not fair.
I know, well, not free, but, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
Because we'll want to implement that.
I had it and couldn't do anything. I'll send you an email. Just to send you that.
I already sent one to myself, so I've got a reminder to myself to send it to you. I'll reach out to him, say, Joe, I'll go. But I already say myself.
If you want to get on this.
I'll reach out.
We're in the damage control.
And I'm just curious, it's just a personal thing.
Well, that's good. That's a plus. Level of interest.
I know I'm learning already.
Yeah.
It might be, yeah.
I mean, walk my dog kind of late at night because I still work from home. But
It might be, yeah.
hopefully I can. I think they're trying to start me.
Oh, yes.
Not that that's gonna, I need to get out of it. I need to have time to play.
Yeah, no kidding, that's what you're
I
here for,
don't have
right?
that much longer to do that, so I wanted to play. I need to.
Yeah. See you later.
I don't have that much longer to do that.
Jason, could you also email this to me, because I'd like to.
Certainly.
Send.
I just
Yeah,
have it with me. So I can
yeah,
show
yeah,
you.
no, great. Now, she's, Rhonda's answering for the board, for the HOA, for the master board, is that right?
Correct.
Rhonda's answering for the. Thank you, yeah, yeah.
CIT.
Yes, exactly, well, exactly.
Now it's about to be somebody different, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, right. You get used to it and it changes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm, I don't know how much it's.
Yeah.
I think newer communities, but
I
not
agree.
pre-existing, they're not gonna come in and mess with what's.
They may, a lot of these things,
Arbor wood will probably be
become,
affected.
it will probably become a,